What's up, everybody? Today we're talking about what it's like to date in the queue and why you need to edit your profile answers if you're trying to find your boo. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Up to Date. I'm your host, Chelsea Texera, and today we have Molly Delmore in the studio. She is a lifestyle influencer and a travel guru. Molly, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, my love. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Woohoo! And this beautiful, hot PB summer day.
This is making it a lot better. I'm stoked.
This refresher is perfect for a hot day like this, but we're going to wait till everybody what we're drinking until we get into some of your favorite places.
Sounds good.
So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about you?
Yeah, so as you said, my name's Molly. I grew up in Pacific Beach, kind of a unicorn in that regard.
That is very true. You rarely meet people from Pacific Beach. They say like, oh, I'm from San Diego or, but PB, there you go, girl.
Yeah, they're like, you grew up on Garnett? And I'm like, not on Garnett. I'm, not baby at the bar, but pretty close. Went to the University of Arizona for college, and then I loved it, but wanted to move back to San Diego, of course, after graduation. And now I'm a social media content coordinator at a marketing agency in Bankers Hill.
Very cool. How do you like that?
I really like it. People are like, how do you spend so much time on Instagram all the time? But I've kind of managed to separate it between work and play. So,
well, but it's play for you too, right? Because as a lifestyle influencer, you, I'm sure, channel that into your own page as well, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I have like 6 different accounts. I'm constantly rotating. I had to finally put a screen limit on, or a
screen time limit?
On Instagram, because I was like, this is getting ridiculous. Like I'm spending way too much time.
So what do you do to find a balance between work and play?
Honestly, I'm still working on that balance. I kind of try to set boundaries for myself. Like in the morning, I won't look at my phone right away, which is nearly impossible, but
I know.
I'll hit the alarm off, go work out, come back, and then start checking emails and DMs for the day. I work with kind of a high profile client, and he gets a ton of DMs. So those can be a little overwhelming, but
mostly business or pleasure DMs.
He gets a couple weird DMs.
Don't we all?
I just try to ignore them. Yeah, don't we all? Honestly, I'm like, some of these people need to delete Instagram. Pass the screen limit, just delete the app.
They need to find that work-play balance as well.
Exactly.
Great. Okay, so that's awesome. It sounds like you love your job, and that is all we can ask for in this life. That is why I started doing this, because it's something that I love to do, and that's what makes life worth living. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing that makes life worth living for me is traveling. So I wanted to ask you, what are your top 3 favorite places that you've ever been?
Ooh, that's a great question. Well, I'm kind of biased. I studied abroad in Florence, Italy in college.
Okay.
So after living there for 5 months, it's definitely a favorite.
Okay.
And then Paris, France, and Lisbon, Portugal, probably the top 3.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I have not been to Florence, but actually I went to Rome this last October. It was my very first place I ever traveled to solo.
Ooh, solo. How was that?
It was amazing. Honestly, like I was a little nervous before I went, but also my roommate, she really just encouraged it. I was in kind of a weird funk in my life. I've been so nostalgic this month because it was a year ago in August that I moved in with her, and she ended up being like, she was a random person, but she ended up being like such a solid, sweet, inspirational figure in my life.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So like even all the trials that we go through, they are leading us to higher ground for sure. And so she really taught me that. But so yeah, I flew into Rome, and I was going to take a day trip to Florence, but I just never ended up doing it because I was there for 4.5 days in Rome, and I cannot believe myself. I didn't get to go see the Colosseum. I saw everything else I think mentionable, but I was a little hungover on the last day when that was the plan. So didn't end up coming to fruition. But
yeah, I feel that we went on a school trip to Pompeii, and I went a little hard the night before. So Pompeii is a bit of a blur. So I feel like going and seeing historical landmarks when you're hungover is honestly
Oh, it was
The worst thing you could think of that you never thought you'd have to think about.
It was not going to happen.
Yeah.
No.
I can send you some pictures. It's,
Oh, good.
it's not as exciting. You just kind of walk in the circle. You're like, oh, it's the Coliseum. And then you leave.
So I drove by it when I was coming in from the airport because the airport is surprising. I flew into Fiumicino, which is, I think, the main airport in Rome.
I think so.
But it was kind of far from everything. So, but when my very scary cab driver drove me by, I did get to see the Coliseum, but I didn't get to actually go. Like, I don't think I would have done the inside tour of it, honestly. I probably would have just wanted a few, like, Insta pics in front. But so that will be for next time. Come on, it's Rome. Like, I'm going to go to Italy again. I didn't get to go to all of the beautiful, like, Cinque Terre, Pompeii, I would love to go to. So I will be back. But yeah, Florence was really high. Like, when I asked people, when you go to Italy, where should I go? And so many people just unanimously said Florence. But so tell me about why you loved it, what you did there.
I don't know. I just felt like it was in a fairy tale. Honestly, I was kind of starstruck the whole time. Couldn't believe I was there. I'm a huge foodie. Okay. So I basically had like the world's biggest Florence bucket list of food.
I love that.
Like, I asked every person I knew that had been there, studied abroad there, and I basically just checked them off. Like, it was one of my friends and I's goal to just hit every single restaurant on there. I'm like, I'm not even going to go to the grocery store. And we pretty much did by the end of the semester. You know, my pants didn't fit as well on the way home, but
hey, you eat, pray, love it up. Girl. Yeah. Seriously.
It's fine. Just hit Orange Theory over the summer and you're back to normal. Worth every bite.
Love that. So did you have any specific dishes? So I do the same thing. Like, before I go anywhere, I map out, and I saw that you wrote this in your answers before, the pre-pod answers, that you always print out like your itinerary kind of thing. I am such a planner. So and that probably goes with the territory being a social media planner or, manager. So I always plan out like, okay, here's all the restaurants I'd want to hit. Here's some specific foods that I would love to try. So what were some of your favorite specific foods?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I know Italian
food
is just,
all
so
things
good.
Pasta and pizza, like I'd pretty much try. Couple things, we had truffle gnocchi at one restaurant, and truffle, same thing. This truffle oil over lasagna, which you wouldn't think in your head, but this waiter came by and he's like, would you like some truffle oil? And we're all like, of course. Like, we're not going to say no to, we're not going to say no to truffle oil. He just douses it on there, and we're like, oh, it's one of the best things I've ever had.
Drizzle me up, buttercup. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm like, can I take this home in my carry-on? Like,
you probably could. Yeah. Put it in your carry-on.
Oh, yeah, true.
They're bastards. That's one of my biggest, like, my kryptonite is my liquids and my carry-ons.
I'm like, can I get a travel size of this so I can eat it on the plane?
I heard that. Okay, so love that. And then, what else did you do in Florence? Because it's beautiful. It's very historical. I read you don't really like museums.
I don't not like museums. I can do a quick lap. Like, I'll look up what's really important. People like to look at before, read a few things, and then on my way out. But more like finding cool buildings or things that aren't as, on the top tourist list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I'm not a huge fan of waiting in long lines. And then you get in there. Yeah. I'm like, if there's a fast pass, like, sign me up for it.
The fast pass is called jet lag, baby girl, because I wake up so early when I'm traveling that's never been a problem for me. Like, I did in Rome, we did the Vatican and like Vatican City and St. Peter's Basilica, but I did the 8 a.m. tour and I woke up at like 5 a.m. I was like, let's do it.
No, that's how my friends and I were. We're like, we are queens of every hour we had something planned. We're like, we are the first, we went to Amsterdam. Oh, I love Amsterdam. For the Anne Frank house. We're like, we are getting the earliest time slot they have.
I did wait in line for that, but we got hot chocolate at there's this little cafe right in front. I'm sure you probably know what I'm talking about. And so that made it okay. And also you have to do that. It's like crazy.
Yeah. We had friends that went the weekend before, and on top of it already being snowing outside while they were there, they're like, we had to wait in the non-reservation line and took hours. And so I was like, okay, we are not making that same mistake. I'm like, I have all the tickets planned out, like everything ahead of time, because I don't want to stress about it when you get there. Especially
time is so precious.
Yeah. Like, if you're studying abroad, you're only in these places for like 48 or 72 hours. Like, you have to pack every single thing you can into 2 or 3 days.
It needs to be planned. When people are like, oh, I don't plan, I just touch down and decide. I'm like, you're a fool.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, no.
I got to respect those people for being able to live that way, because I'm just such a planner and have everything.
It gives me anxiety to
Yeah,
not know what I'm
exactly.
doing. Yeah. So, okay. My soul sister right here on that. Cause yeah, I just like to like, know if I end up not going to the places I have laid out, that's okay. Like I can fly by the seat of my pants
Totally.
too, but I would like to be at least in the vicinity of the things that I want to do and then go from there. Like
Right.
it's not all structure, but it is nice to just kind of have an outline.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Travel together when this
Yes.
travel ban's up.
Girl, I'm
Next
so
trip,
ready.
I'm there.
I'm already like looking. I have like a whole note in my phone of like my next travel plans. I want to do Prague, Vienna. I want to do like
I
Croatia.
loved Prague.
I really want. I didn't get to go to Prague. I went to Rome and then I went to Budapest
That's
and then Copenhagen because I had a friend that lived in Copenhagen.
I've never been to Copenhagen.
It was awesome. One of my favorite museums is there. My museum.
I'll go.
No, I think you would really like it. It was great. But yeah, Budapest was great, and I wanted to go to Prague, but it just wasn't enough time in that particular trip. But Prague, I'd love to go there for. So, how long did you go to Prague for?
We did this thing called Bus to Alps, and it was basically like a college travel thing. And you would get on a bus, and it would drive you overnight Thursday night, and you would get there Friday morning, and then
Thursday
do things like all Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday get back on the bus.
Oh my
and
gosh.
if you asked me to do that again, I'd be like, absolutely not. I could not sleep on these 12-hour bus rides.
Hungover on a bus. Did they have bathrooms?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like one of those huge charter buses.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was a bathroom, but you don't sleep. You're hungover on the way back. It's not ideal, but it was cheap, and we were going somewhere every weekend. And so we're like, okay, if we can save a little money here and there. And it was fun. It was like huge groups of study abroad kids.
I am such a saver. Like, honestly, I mean, of course I love luxurious things and will splurge here and there, but I'm a hostel queen.
Yeah, there's some nice ones too. Like the one we stayed at in Prague was nicer than some of the hotels we stayed in.
Yeah, and also it's kind of just a more fun atmosphere, especially like later in life, we're not going to be able to do that. So I fully recommend hostels for any people our age or, just like around there and if you want to go travel and people can't travel at the same time as you or have other things going on, like don't wait to live your life.
Yeah, I was
go
gonna
meet
say
other
solo
people.
Travel for sure, because then you can meet other people there and link up and do stuff with them while you're there.
I've met so many cool people for my travels. So I read that you hadn't solo traveled, but you'd gone on like a layover kind of thing by yourself.
Yeah. So I had a few friends from home that were also studying abroad, but in different countries.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'd meet up in different places. And yeah, I never was like actually alone, but heading there. Or one time I got stuck in London overnight, which
not a problem.
At least in London, they speak English. So if I'm going to be stuck anywhere, like it was fine to be there.
So what did you do that night? I just spent 10 days in London recently.
I love London.
That's
one place I would like to go back because I was only there for 3 days.
Okay. Yeah, you need more time. It's like there's so much to explore.
But because I was basically only there, like my flight was really early the next morning. I kind of just went back to the hotel by the airport because the airport's like an hour from everything. So didn't really make sense to go all the way back.
Which airport? There's so many airports in London.
Heathrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
On my last trip, I flew through like 3 of them. So 3 of the London airports.
The Tube became my best friend.
Yeah.
That trip.
The Tube. Yes, the Tube. Okay, so what did you do that you said you just went to the hotel? But that was about your only time in London?
Yeah, well, I was there for the weekend and then I was heading back and they told me that my connecting flight in Amsterdam before making it back to Florence was going to be canceled. So if I got on the plane, I was either going to be stuck in Amsterdam or London. And I had a friend studying abroad in London, even though she was an hour away. I was like, okay, I feel a little safer being stuck in this English speaking country than being on the streets of Amsterdam. So
I loved Amsterdam. You know what? So that was probably a good choice for the English speaking part.
Yeah.
But since I have traveled solo many times now, I'd be like, let's Amsterdam it up. Did you participate in the coffee shops when you were in Amsterdam?
We did.
Yes. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
It's legal, baby.
I know. Yeah, only once. We weren't. So another kind of crazy story. We showed
Love
up.
those.
We showed up in Amsterdam, and we're knocking on the door of what we thought was our Airbnb.
Uh-oh.
And a young girl answered, and she was like, "This is my house, not an Airbnb." So our Airbnb was a scam. So we spent half of our first day just trying to find somewhere to stay for the weekend. And we were going to the Chainsmokers concert that night.
Oh my gosh.
So we're running around Amsterdam trying to end up putting a hotel on my credit card for all of us. It was kind of a nicer one. So I mean, I wasn't wasn't too upset. I was like, oh, I'll worry about that later.
Shout out Visa.
Yeah, so we went to a coffee shop once. We just ended up like not having as much free time there as we thought because then we were only there like a day and a half. But
you have to, that's why I always like to plan. One of my big travel tips is plan an extra day everywhere that you really want to go because you never know what's going to happen, honestly.
It was hard with class, and it was one of those things like they couldn't really make you do your schoolwork abroad, but the one thing they had on you was attendance. And so they're like, okay, if you're not in class, like we're going to dock your grade. I didn't really care about like the physical grade I got, but I'm like, I have to pass these classes. Like if I come back from study abroad and don't pass these, people will be like, is she good? Like
your parents will be like, you good?
Yeah. They'd be like, oh, we paid to send you to Italy for 5 months. You couldn't even pass.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, okay. Well, but you had your fun, Amsterdam. So you went to Amsterdam, but you were based in Florence.
Yes.
Studying.
So based in Florence.
So bring it back to Florence. So what did we do there? We were there for 5 months.
A lot of wine.
Yes. So cheap, good wine.
It's true. Wine is literally cheaper than water.
It really is.
People don't believe it. And then you show up and you see the water in your bill. I'm like, I have to pay for tap water. And then you can get a carafe of good wine for like $5.
Yep.
So we took advantage of every restaurant that had that to offer.
Oh, yes. So much pizza.
Trying restaurants, walking around. I love fashion. So all the boutiques and like cool little stores that they have there. They have this really cool leather market in Florence. If you ever go back, you have to check it out. And they just have bags, wallets. Like I got the coolest leather jacket there that I get so many compliments on. People are like, where'd you get that? I'm
Love
like,
that.
Florence.
Pieces that will last forever. That's
like
so
a black
special.
leather jacket. Like you're going to have that your whole life. So.
And especially from somewhere else, you know, like I have a couple things. I went shopping at the Champs-Élysées and which we'll get to. I know one of your favorite places. But I'm going to remember that and keep it forever because it's like, one, it's a nice piece of clothing. You know, it's like splurge on, I'm all about, you know, nice little Shein or Fashion Nova $10 dresses. Like I'm into that too. But it's amazing to splurge on something that, you know, you're going to keep forever and has just like a great memory.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm trying to buy like less, but the things I do get are really nice. So I'm like, I just
less, but more.
Right. I just go through these cheap clothing and I shrink them or I spill on everything. I'm like, okay, well that's ruined. So
yeah, one tip I love is that if you buy anything, so say like a dress is $30, are you going to wear it at least 3 times? So like it needs to be at least $10 worth of times kind of thing. So and I'm like, if that's the case, it's like hell yeah, because I'm also a huge like eBay or Poshmark girl, so I like will resell my fashion.
Yeah.
So and that's a good way to pay for your trips.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love that. Okay. So, any specific tips for Florence that you want to throw out there?
Ooh. Definitely plan ahead of time. I feel like people are like, oh, I only need a day or so in Florence because it's a lot smaller than Rome. But there's honestly so much to do there. Like museums. Gucci Museum was actually one of my favorites. I went a couple times. I was in a fashion class while I studied abroad. So we went on a couple field trips there. So that's actually one I think you would really like.
I would love that. Oh my God, yes.
Like the Ponte Vecchio is this really cool old bridge with all these like really nice jewelry stores. There's this, I'm blanking on the name, but this like lookout where you can see the entire city. Like we'd go up there for picnics and there's just a lot of hidden gems there that I feel like people don't realize because it's sometimes Rome overshadows it. But it's really a cool spot.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Did you spend time in Rome too?
Not really. I had been there in middle school, so I'd kind of hit all the touristy spots. And then at the end, my parents came to visit and I went up and met them there just for one night and kind of went
in Rome.
Yeah, went to the Colosseum again. They were staying, I'll have to get you the name, right next to the Trevi Fountain. And so you could go and we would take pictures before any tourist got there in the morning.
Amazing. So that's so hard to do.
I have a picture in front of the Trevi Fountain and there's not one person around.
Wow.
So that was a really cool spot.
That's amazing. I got there at like 8 a.m. when I went and there was thousands of people. I asked like 3 different people to take my picture, all failures. But I ended up meeting somebody, this girl, she ended up being from Egypt, but I saw this old guy trying to take her picture. And I just was like, cause I looked at her and I'm like, she's so cute. I saw her like posing and I'm like, who's taking her picture? Yeah. And it was some
He was not getting the
random
angles.
old guy. And so I went up and I was like, do you want me to take your picture? And so she ended up taking mine too. And we ended up hanging out the entire day.
Oh,
we walked around and did all the different little like spots together, got photos for each other. So it's just kind of about like traveling solo for me is about being open to life and open to meeting people from all different walks of life. Like it was so cool. Her and I went into a Sephora. She's like, I've never been into a Sephora.
No
like,
way.
yeah. So it's really cool to meet people from other cultures. Cause like, I feel that when you travel with friends, it's awesome and so much fun. You make lots of memories, but it's not like always as, an open thing to meet people from different walks of life.
Definitely.
Maybe different men from walks of life, right? Like if you're going out at night and stuff, but like I love to meet other like young women or just like things like that. So it was really empowering and like a special thing to just meet somebody who I normally would not have.
Yeah, I love that. We kind of felt the same way because I'm like, okay, we're meeting other kids from other American universities. I'm like, oh, another kid from Michigan. Like,
oh yeah,
exciting culture. But we were like scoping out places. We're like, where can we meet some like fun Italian friends? Like we came all the way to another country and we're hanging out with people that grew up on the other coast. Like this isn't that exciting, and we found this club in Florence, Blue Velvet.
Ooh, okay. Blue Velvet. Write it down.
Yeah. And it was all Italians. Like they were looking at us like, how did these people even find out about this place? And it was so fun.
Hell yeah.
They would go out on the off nights from like Space and a lot of the more popular, like basically American study abroad clubs that the promoters would find you on Facebook before you came and then, try to get you to buy a table. And I was like, all right, we're just going to wait for someone to volunteer to buy this table. And then
that's how we do it.
Need someone to fill it. Like, count me in.
This is how we do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I stayed at the Yellow. It's a hostel in Rome. It's the #1 hostel in Rome. They had girls only dorms in there. So that's why I was like, I'm going to get in on that. Especially it was my first time like traveling alone. So that was cool. After that, I ventured out and in Budapest, I did a hostel where it was boys and girls, except for lucky me, my room was 5 boys and me. But
How was that?
It was actually super fun. I walked in and the first dude in there was like longer than the bed. He was like 6'5". He was huge. And he's like, hey, my name's Mike. And he was from Maine. Yeah. But he's like, I used to live in PB when I said I'm from San Diego. So it's super small world, but he looked out for me the whole time. I ended up, we did like pub crawls with everybody else. And so yeah, it's just about like, if you think that the universe, I've said this before and I will say it over and over again. If you think the universe is a scary place, then it will show it up as that for you. But if you think it's a fun, friendly place, that's what it's going to be. And so he was like, I walked in there and he's like, you should go here, here, and here. And as soon as I did, like we talked, I went and I walked by myself all over Budapest. It was so amazing, so fun. But so back to the Yellow though, there's the Yellow bar, the #1 bar in Rome too, like funnily enough. And it was poppin'. It was so fun.
You knew what was up.
Yeah, it was so great. So that I loved Rome. Florence is so high up on the list. Did you go to Cinque Terre?
I didn't make it there, but I went to the Amalfi Coast, which they're pretty similar.
Yeah.
We went there for a school field trip, like weekender, I guess you can call it. That was really fun. We went in April though, so the water was really cold. I would like to go back in the summer, but we got lucky. It was a nice day because it can get really cold in Italy. So I didn't realize. I didn't pack a winter coat. I didn't even own one growing up in PB.
I know, right?
So yeah, I showed up with, this tiny little down coat that I got from Nordstrom. I'm like, this is going to work. Wrong. We didn't have heating in our apartment. Like the first month we got there, our hot water went out. So we're all freezing to death. I had to go buy a huge coat. It was definitely a wake up call for a San Diego girl. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So Florence sounds amazing. And then, so you said Paris, France?
Paris, yes, which you love Paris too.
I love Paris.
I could go there 100 times over. I went there twice while I was studying. When my parents came to visit, I got to do it a little more, bougie.
Bougie, yes.
Which was nice. They're like, oh, let's stay at a hotel. I'm like, yes.
Oh my God, please.
Thank God. And I'm like, after the end of the semester, when you have $1 in your bank account and they're like paying for your dinners, it was the best.
Yeah, you're like, thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah. Okay, I do like the museums in Paris.
Okay, so you went to the Louvre.
I went to the Louvre a couple times, actually. Okay. Yeah, and the first time we went, there was no one really around the Mona Lisa. But then the second time I went was in May, and I think that's more like peak tourist season. So
I went in September, and there was so many motherfuckers around that. I was like, oh my, like I had to like take a picture.
Sticks, and they got their huge groups. I'm like, put your stuff down. We're all trying to get a photo.
It's like paparazzi. Yeah, literally paparazzi.
But for what reason? I'm like, you guys are just hanging sticks, and they got like. It's almost like a concert. I'm like, are we at Coachella? Or are we trying to see the Mona Lisa?
I know.
Yeah.
I was more into like, I love any of the rooms with like crown jewels or like crowns and things like that. I also am so into Egyptian culture. So they have that kind of stuff too. But you said you went several times. That is definitely a place you would probably want to go several times. It's massive, huge, crazy.
You go into another room and you're like, I don't even remember seeing this the first time.
You're like, when does this end?
Yeah.
Like not that you want it to, but it's like, this is crazy. I know we didn't see all of it for sure.
And it was nice. tip for anyone, if you're on a student visa, you get into all the museums for cheaper or sometimes free. So that was nice too.
Oh, love that. Yeah, when I went and visited my friend in Copenhagen, he's a student, and I was pissed because like every museum we went to, he was a student and I wasn't. And I was like, you bitch.
I wonder if I could still use that if they wouldn't see the expiration date on there.
They might be peeping, girl, but hey.
Still my old passport.
Let's give that a valiant effort, I'd say.
We can give it a try. We finally get to go wherever's next on our list.
I know. I can't wait. And then so one of my favorite museums besides the Louvre was Musée d'Orsay.
I don't think we made it
It was really amazing. One of my favorite pictures from that trip. They have this huge clock that everyone like takes a picture behind, but it's like a clock window. Okay. So like you stand in front of it, and my caption, I'm an Instagram caption queen. It was, "The clock is ticking, live." And it just fucking broke the internet, I think. Well, at least for that moment in time, you know?
I'll have to scroll back and
check it out.
Re-break it.
Yeah.
It's like when people like your Facebook status from like 2013, bring it back.
You got to bring it back. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, so that was a really fun one. We stayed in Montmartre. It was really cute little like Gothic district. Oh, cool. And then we went to, of course, Versailles, which was beautiful. A lot of walking. That day, I think, was like probably the most walking I've done on any days of any of my trips.
Yeah, it's huge. It's one thing. You got to bring comfortable shoes to Europe.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, Scratch looking cute and all these. I'm like, at least tennis shoes are in style now.
I wish I felt that way. I mean, I do feel that way, but I wore Converse and it was just a problem.
Yeah, Converse always
They're
sound
too
like a
flat.
great idea. Yeah.
They're too flat, and then like my heel was just getting literally scraped.
I finally just had to put inserts in my shoes as if I'm like 65 years old because
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I'm like, my feet are going to feel better. No one knows what's on the inside of your shoe, you know?
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. Love that. Okay. So was there anything that you ate in Paris that you loved, that you didn't love?
Okay. My mom and I think ordered French onion soup.
I love French onion soup.
Every restaurant. And my dad kept making fun of us because he's like,
it's so good.
He's like, there's so many good things in the menu. And we're like, yeah, we'll take another bowl of French onion soup.
Yeah.
It's so good. And I don't know, it's better there. It's not like Panera doesn't do it right here. You know?
No.
Like, you're in France, got to do it. That, and then I tried escargot. I tried to be, adventurous. Wasn't my favorite, but at least I can say I tried it. I was a super picky eater.
So what's it like?
How
do you eat it? Do you pick it out of the shell?
Yeah, you can, or you can kind of like,
no.
Certain places you can like slurp it almost like, it
it
wasn't my vibe.
I like mussels. Sure. I like oysters, but I will say when I eat them, I have to it's mind over matter.
Yeah.
Can't be thinking about it.
See, I don't even really like those. I just kind of wanted to say that I did it.
But so, see, like mussels and oysters, you don't really chew it. You just kind of you just send it.
Yeah.
It's down.
I think it depends on how it's prepared. I want to say I tried to slurp it, but it came in there was 6 of them in a ring. I don't know. My parents didn't want it either. And so I was like, okay, I'll just.
But you guys just did it to just try it?
We wanted to try it.
Well, that's good. I respect that. Okay. So yeah, no to the escargot.
Yeah. No to the escargot. Anyone out there who likes it, let me know because I couldn't do it.
One of my favorite things in the morning, it's a type of a breakfast sandwich that has an egg on the top. Well, I can't think of it.
Oh,
croque madame. Croque madame. That's really good.
Yeah. It's kind of almost like, what is it called here? Like egg in the toast or toast. The
Egyptian eye kind of thing where they put totally. Yeah. They put the egg in the bread.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are really good too.
Those are good. I love macaroons.
Yeah. Lauderay.
So good.
We waited in line at the one, the most popular one, the one that first started.
I'm not sure.
I think we waited in line for an hour because it has the tea room inside too. We just wanted to say that we ate there. Not worth it.
No. That's good to know because some people, there's some things you read over and over again online. You're like, oh, I have to go there. But it's good to know really what is worth it and what isn't.
Yeah. They also have another one. I'll have to look up what area it was in. That was a lot. The line was a lot shorter and it's the same one. It's just not the main one. So.
One of the little sweet shops we went to, there was this little old lady. I felt bad, but she kept coming in and the people who worked there were like, hey, and I'm like, oh my God, why are you yelling at this old lady? They're like, she steals the chocolate.
Stop.
But I'm like, hey, I respect that. She's trying to just get her little bit of sweetness in there.
They're like, she's clearly done it too many times.
Yeah.
Okay.
They knew about her. They knew about her.
That's funny.
Yeah, that is funny. So yeah, and then we did a little picnic by the Seine River, which was really nice.
We did one under the Eiffel Tower too. I'm like, I was going to say one in Rome, but one in Paris.
When in Paris.
Yeah.
So we were in front of the Eiffel Tower, but we didn't end up going like too close to it or going like underneath it.
Mm.
It was actually a weird time. I traveled there in 2017 and it was just kind of right now, every time is a weird time in the world. Right. But, yeah, so it was just, everything was like super high alert. And we were just like, we're just going to like see it from afar. We got some really cool pictures, ate some gelato with the Eiffel Tower in the background. That was really fun. France is another place where everything, like wine was so cheap, like good wine, like $2 bottles of wine at the little store.
That here.
I think so too.
I think we need to start that. Why am I going out in the gas lamp and my bottle of wine is so expensive?
Trader Joe's is trying to love us, okay?
Yeah.
Like with their $2 chucks, I'm always down for a little Trader
bottles
Joe's.
Of wine for like $5. Like one of my favorite rosés there, I think, is like $4.99.
I know, they're amazing. I love them so much. Lately their lines have been a little overzealous for your girl.
Yeah,
but I actually went the other day and there was no line at all, and I was like, thank you, Jesus. Like, I appreciate this.
Sunday morning, right when it opens, and I'm like, is this me being a mom already? Like,
we're preparing.
Yeah, because if you go after work during the week, it's insane. I'm like, I can't wait in a 20-minute line to get my groceries.
From like 5 to 7, it's a no-go, and they close at 8. They close so early.
Yeah.
Yeah, for anybody listening, if you don't have Trader Joe's next to you, you need to visit here solely for that, because Trader Joe's is amazing. Like so many amazing cheeses, let's be honest, cheeses, wine, just like specialty little items. And I'm so grateful that they're a part of our country.
Yeah. If you need something to build your perfect picnic basket and charcuterie board, I feel like I've been picnicking a lot lately in 2020.
Yeah, you sound like a picnic gal. Have you been picnicking?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, not that I was against picnicking before, but it kind of just became a thing, like since the queue. It's what my friends and I are calling
the queue.
Quarantine.
The queue. Yeah,
we're like, pre-queue, during the queue. We kind of say post-queue now because we're not really sure. Like, are we still in quarantine? Kinda. But yeah, we've been going to Kate Sessions a lot and picnicking, which if you're not from here is a park in Pacific Beach.
Big, beautiful park with views of the entire city. It is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, we kind of say it's like the Dolores Park of San Diego.
Yes. Oh, I love Dolores Park. Gorgeous. So Dolores Park is in San Francisco if you are not familiar with our California parks. But yeah, it's just somewhere where you can go spend the day, chill in the shade or in the sun and just have some fun and beautiful, amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Okay, so we loved Paris. Do you have any tips for Paris?
Ooh. Paris is huge, so I feel like you really have to plan and spend quite a few days there.
Yes.
The first time I went, 2 days was not enough, and even I think it was there 5 days.
We spent 4.
Yeah, I feel like I still barely scratched the surface. There's so much to do there, so much to explore, but it's a place you can always go back. So
yes, always go back. It's such like a hub. I love when I fly into a place that is such a like a cultural center, because I'm like, oh, I can fly in there for cheap anytime. Yeah. So that'll be on my next little stop on one of my other trips where I'm seeing places that I haven't seen.
Yeah, one place we did go there was this fondue restaurant.
Ooh, I love fondue.
They said they didn't speak English, even though I'm pretty sure they did, and they were just ignoring us. But we never even got like actual meals. Like they just kept bringing more baskets of bread, and I think we ate like 10 baskets of bread with this fondue.
That sounds amazing.
And they give you wine in a baby bottle. It sounds kind of weird, but
like with a nipple?
Yeah. Like it's kind of nice though. Like you don't have to worry about spilling your wine. Like after you've had a few bottles, like you're sippy cup proof. Like you're good.
Wow.
And you're on like picnic benches, which I guess probably now not too COVID friendly, but you were squished in there like sardines.
Okay.
Like if you have to get up to go to the bathroom and you're in the back bench, like forget about it.
Interesting. Yeah, that is like so crazy.
Communal seating, and it's just like 2 long benches with a table in the middle, and it was so much fun. 6 of us squeezed, which probably should have been for like 2, maybe 3 people, and had bread for dinner.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not a bread eater, actually, usually, like very rarely. Like carbs are the enemy. So when I travel, I am carbing it up. I'm sorry, you need the energy if you're walking 20,000 steps a day.
And I think European carbs are on a different level. I did not feel as gross there eating pasta and pizza every day that if you did here, you would feel like crap.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, even pizza in Rome or anywhere in Italy, it's like very thin.
Yeah, you can have a whole pizza and not feel bad about it. I don't know. I read this thing that
you're supposed to eat a whole pizza. Yeah, you're supposed to order pizza to yourself.
Their nutrition guidelines are a lot stricter than they are here. So I think they actually don't have as many processed stuff in their food.
Preservatives
Yeah.
and things like that. Yeah.
Which, America, get on that level. Like, I want to eat a whole pizza all the time and not feel bad about it.
True
Or
that.
feel sick the rest of the day.
Or how about we get on this? So this actually, I wanted to mention this earlier, but we got off topic, which I love. But so I did a pasta making class when I was in Rome.
So did I.
It was it was honestly one of my favorite things that I did. It was kind of on a whim. The day that I was going to maybe go to Florence, I decided, you know what? Instead of being so rushed around, because once again, like, you need an extra day anywhere you want to go, even if you don't think you do, you do. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to stay here. So that morning I went and like took myself on a long walk through this park, came back home, and then I got there in time to do this pasta making class. And two of the kids that were in the class were from Arizona, and they actually knew a person that I knew. So it was so random. So, but anyway, we made this fresh pasta. The young man, his name was Lucas. Shout out to you, Lucas, who helped us or showed us how to make the pasta. His grandma, he's like, you know, Italian. So he's like, yeah, my grandma showed me how to make this, and he worked at the hostel. But it was so fun. We made ravioli and like linguine, like so cool. And my Nana has taught me how to make so many cool things, but like never fresh homemade pasta.
Yeah,
so
mine either. I'm gonna have to text her.
I know. What's up?
Yeah.
What's up? But yeah, so that was really fun. And I love that. Okay, so where is your third favorite place? We said
Yeah, first was Florence, then Paris. Last one was Lisbon,
Portugal.
which I actually didn't go to while I was abroad. I went 2 years ago, last year. God, 2020 has just been 10 years long.
I know, geez.
I had a family friend studying abroad in Barcelona, and so I met her there, and then we went to Lisbon for the weekend, and it was incredible.
Okay.
Started off on a bit of a rocky foot. Story time.
Okay, story time.
So I fly into Barcelona to meet her, and then you have to get on a bus, and I think it's like 30 minutes maybe to the airport. And we're on the bus, and she's like, did you check into your flight? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, me being the over planner, like checking everything. Like, of course I did. Pull up my phone. I hadn't checked into my flight.
Oh,
like,
no.
I thought I had clicked
Were
it
you drunk?
in an email. Not yet. So I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? And hadn't checked in, and she's a little, on the later side. I'm usually getting everywhere like 2 hours early. Sorry, Katie, if you listen to this later, I love you. But we were getting to the airport late, like borderline, like I'm thinking we're going to miss the flight. Like, I'm getting anxious.
Oh,
She's
man.
like, we're fine. Like, I've been doing this all the time, whatever.
Did you run?
I'm not checked into the flight, mind you. So
Oh,
we
boy.
get there, and a lot of airlines in Europe have a rule: if you're not checked in 45 minutes before the flight starts, I think it's before it starts boarding or maybe before it takes off, I can't remember, they won't let you on the plane. They won't even let you through security.
Wow.
I missed it, I think, by 3 minutes.
No. Did you cry? Did you try to like
Sobbed. Like, not one part of me could have kept it together in this Barcelona airport.
Aw.
And it's late at night. Like, it was Thursday night. So there's no more flights going out that night. So I'm like, I'm either going to sleep in the Barcelona airport.
Did you?
No, I thought about it. I got back on the bus, went back to her apartment. I knew some of her roommates.
Oh, good.
Slept there for like 4 hours, and then had to rebook a flight for the next morning. So she had to stay in Lisbon the first night by herself, find our Airbnb all alone.
Hey, well that's good for character building.
Yeah. And, $200 or $300 for a new flight. And
oh, no. Really, that's so interesting, because one thing that I do love about inter-Europe travel is that they're cheap flights.
Yeah,
So
and
why was it so expensive?
I don't know. And it was on one of the cheap ones too. Like, not Ryanair, but
Wizz Air?
what's that jet? EasyJet.
EasyJet. Okay.
It was one of those too, but I think it was just so like late. Yeah, last minute. I probably got one of the last seats on the flight too. And yeah, there was a lot of crying. I had to rebook the flight. I'm doing it all on my phone too. Just
That's the worst.
A mess.
But also a tip that I have is don't bring your computer unless like you do that for work and you have to. I brought my
100%.
computer last time thinking, oh, I'm going to do this, this, and this. I didn't do shit with my computer. And it was literally like, who knows how much a computer weighs, but it's more than you'd want it to being in your bag constantly and you having to carry it. So
it's heavy, and I feel like you're just asking to get it stolen.
I was constantly nervous about it. Like hostels and stuff, no matter what, they have like lock. I brought a lock, but they have lockers for you.
Yeah.
But still, like every time I left, I was like, my computer, and you just don't need to do it.
Yeah, I was paranoid about even having a backpack on. Like,
Yeah.
I had this really nice like jacket, and it had zipper pockets inside. So I would zip my phone and my wallet on the inside of my coat. So if someone like tried to get in my pockets, they wouldn't be able to, or even if my purse got stolen. Like, I never kept my debit card and credit card together, which I know is super paranoid of me. But
No, that's
if
so
my wallet
smart.
got
Very
stolen,
smart.
only one of my cards was going to get taken, and like never had passport or driver's license together. I read like every probably study abroad blog type thing beforehand. Cause
Good, as you should.
And none of my roommates got pickpocketed the entire time we were there.
I've been all over the world and I've never been pickpocketed, but my tip is I'm not a backpack bitch because first of all, and then also I think it looks so stupid when people have their backpack on their stomach.
The front, yeah.
Okay, I get it, but no.
You're almost asking to be, have your stuff taken at that point. Like,
it's just like,
want you to know I have a backpack on the front. Yeah.
It just looks stupid for one. I'm just like, that's not it. Whatever you're trying to do,
honestly,
it's not
packing tip, bring the smallest like crossbody purse that you can like still fit things in.
Well, so I got this one from Kohl's. Shout out Kohl's. Always have great deals. This actually ended up being like who's Kristen Cavallari or whoever, Lauren Conrad, one of their little purses. But it was like big enough that I could put I had like a gimbal. So I was taking videos, my gimbal in there. I kept same kind of thing. I'd keep my stuff like on me where nobody else is going to get it. But I had it across my body and I'd always have my one hand on the like clasp. Nobody's gonna try to jack me.
No.
I'm all like, and I don't even care. Like, it might sound inconvenient, but no, like, even when I do this, when I walk around anywhere, I keep a hand on my purse because somebody could just like swipe that off your arm or whatever. So just being aware is so important.
Yeah, nothing's worse than all your stuff getting taken in a foreign country, and especially if they're a long time. Like, then what do you do? Well,
so and that's why, touching back to what we said earlier about printing things out. So I always send a Google Doc. I love Google Docs. Send a Google Doc with my confirmation numbers, my flight times, the address of my hotels, my hostels, the phone numbers, and I share it with my mom, and maybe like a friend just to make sure. Cause like if they haven't heard from me or something, I want them to know, hey, this is where she's supposed to be. They could call and check in, blah, blah, blah. Or they know like, if my phone died or something and I find a way to get a hold of them some other way, they're like, this is your confirmation. Just like somebody else needs to have your information, but I keep a printed copy of my passport, not on me, but in my bag. Like, so when I leave, so if I came back to the hotel and someone did happen to steal my passport, I would have a copy of it. I would have a copy of, like a couple different things, because like, what a nightmare to be anywhere else and not have access to your information.
Yeah. We also did, we'd send each other, like if we were in a group traveling, our train tickets or plane tickets. Cause if someone's phone dies and God forbid you don't have an adapter or a portable charger.
Adapters. Yep.
People are so used to having like their boarding passes and everything just on your phone. Yeah. But when you're in a foreign country, like, you never know what's going to happen if you're stuck somewhere for a long time. So yeah, we would send each other everything. And our school would make us fill out a form too anytime we left for the weekend. Like, where are you going? How are you getting there? Who are you staying with? So
that's
worst
cool.
case, if anything happened too, like our school knew where we were and they had other locations like in different countries. So like say something happened and we were all in Barcelona, like it was called CEA in Barcelona would also have our information. So if it was like a natural disaster, God forbid, or something like that, like they'd be able to help you.
So yeah, it's always just good to have a backup.
Yeah, you and I are planners. We're like backup, because I hate to be like worst case scenario, but you never know. And I'm,
and I'd rather be the one that knows. Cause like if I'm in a crisis and somebody else is the one who knows, that's not good enough for me. I'm like, no, I need to know.
And I think you're probably the same as me. Like I'm always just the planner, like making the reservations, like in my friend group. I'm like, I just feel better if
I'm like, here's the
I
hotel
know
we
it's
should stay
handled. It's probably a little bit of a control freak in me, but happens.
That's me.
Yeah.
I am so that way. When's your birthday?
June 9th. So I'm a Gemini.
My moon is a Gemini. So I know all about you.
Did you say your birthday was in May? Is that
May
Taurus?
4th. I'm a Taurus. Yep. So, but yeah, I love me some Geminis, but we love to communicate. We are planners. We're going to communicate what's happening.
We would have it like locked down if we went on a trip together. Like it'd be double planned and booked. And
that's, to me, I'm sorry, but that equals relaxation. Pre-planning equals as much relaxation as possible.
Relaxed, but I'm like, if I do all this ahead of time, then I can enjoy my vacation. I know even if something goes wrong, I have a plan for when it goes wrong.
I might not be relaxed during the planning, but I will be relaxed while it's happening.
And that's the point of vacation, right?
That sure is. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to be worried about it while I'm there. Like I'd rather have all my ducks covered
in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Ducks in a row. That's the right. Cover my ducks.
Just cover all the ducks.
Oh, yes. Okay, perfect. I love that. Okay, so the flight, that's freaking sucks. A $300 flight. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was terrible.
So check into your flights.
Sugarcoat it. Yeah. I think I was so upset too because I thought I had checked in and missed it. And yeah, my friend got on the plane and It was fine. She held down the fort in our Airbnb. I got there. I was on like the first flight out at like 8 a.m. Got there right in time, and we had everything kind of not planned as much as a lot of other countries, which is kind of why I ended up like Lisbon. We kind of just walked around, and
Yeah.
we had a light outline, restaurants that people had recommended to us and sites to see, but we did a lot of just like chilling. Like we found this cool little like beach club of sorts. Like it almost reminded me, I haven't been to Miami, but like something in Miami or like Greece just had all these lawn chairs and it overlooked the water. And they had waiters walking around, like give you wine or whatever you needed. And we just sat there for like 3 hours.
Love it.
People watched and just chilled. And I think that was kind of one of the nicer parts of it, is that you didn't feel like you had to check every single box and every site. It was just
Yeah.
kind of like a fun, relaxing trip.
I love that. That's great. That's how I kind of felt in Budapest. I kind of just like went by the seat of my pants, like did whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I remember I sat at this one bar I thought was really cute for like an hour or two, looking into what I was going to do next, and obviously enjoying a couple cocktails, my favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to just kind of like have like once again an outline, but then do whatever the hell that you want to do. So what was like your number one favorite thing that you did while you were in Portugal?
We went to Sintra,
Okay.
which is just outside of Lisbon, and you take these little like they're almost like I think like tuk-tuks. Am I saying that right? Like
Tuk-tuks?
yeah, like I think they have them in like Thailand.
Mhm.
And they take you all the way up the hill, and there's this really pretty castle. You've probably seen pictures of it, just super vibrant colors. And you can walk around, and that was honestly one of like the coolest day trips I'd been on from any city. Cause usually they're like, go on the day trip, and you go and you're like, okay, it wasn't as good as the main city.
Mhm.
We kept joking like we were gonna retire there because it was just so tranquil and cool. It's just like
I'm
nothing I'd ever
Portuguese. I
seen
can't
before.
wait to go to Portugal.
I will go back to Portugal. That is one place that I would probably like Paris would go multiple times.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's only one place I think I wouldn't super go back. I would go back there maybe to give it another chance, but I could care less about it. Berlin.
I've never been to Berlin, but I've heard that. I've heard they don't love Americans. Is that true?
Oh, thank
Okay.
you. Okay. So honestly, there was some really cool street art and stuff. We
Mhm.
did like the East Side Gallery, which, is pieces of the Berlin Wall,
Yeah.
and it has some cool art. But we were like walking around that morning to get a coffee, and we walked into this one coffee shop, and I wanted to pay for a coffee, and the chick was like, no credit cards, only cash. But like I could tell she knew that we
Yeah.
were like American. I was like, bitch, I'll show you some cash.
I think also Germans, it's just like it's a cultural difference. I feel like they're a little harsher in how they speak.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it probably does to them it might not even
It felt
be intentional,
It
but
felt very harsh, very Eastern European,
Yeah.
which, hello, here we are. But
Yeah.
but yeah, so it wasn't super fun, but we didn't get to spend like we got there late. We went from Munich to Berlin, and or was it the other way? No. Actually, we took a bus from Amsterdam to Berlin and then went from Berlin to Munich. So we were just in Berlin for like a hot minute, and we didn't get to go to like the night scene there. And I've heard they have like a really cool like
yeah,
night.
I've heard that there's certain clubs that they won't even let Americans in, or you have to be like selective about it. I had a friend that
That's rude.
studied there, but her program rotated countries, so she was only there for a few weeks, and she said you had to be really careful. Like there were only certain
Well,
places you could even go.
People always think I look Russian, so I think I'd be fine. I would just, throw on a little accent, but
Yeah.
but that's rude.
Yeah, so I never made it there, but I just from things I've heard, not too upset that I didn't make it there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no. So once again, like maybe like down the line, if somebody was like, "Oh, we have to go there," and had a little plan for me, maybe. But I'm like, it was kind of whatever. That's like one of my only places that's whatever.
okay, you might disagree with me. That's kind of how I felt about Budapest.
Oh no.
I loved the nighttime scene, like going out. The ruin bars were so cool. Like,
I loved that.
those were like nothing I'd ever seen before. But I feel like during the day we didn't have as much to do. We did go to the baths.
See,
which
so that's actually the one thing I didn't do.
I felt like I was just in a large communal hot tub, and the germaphobe in me was like, all right, what's going on here? And we went, granted, it was like January or February. It was snowing. It was really cold.
Mm.
But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, because I was kind of
Budapest is actually in my top 3.
Really?
So
Okay.
I loved Budapest so much. I stayed at a great hostel. So that was one of, I think, like something that added to my experience. first night, we went to, so I got there at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I actually missed a full day there because my flight was delayed, not because I missed it, from Rome to Budapest. But they actually, so I had the opposite thing of you where they paid me $350 because everyone on the flight
could have used that $350.
I know. So they ended up like, they reimbursed us like, my flight was $40. They paid us $350 because like
for the inconvenience.
And they put us up in a hotel. It was like, that was fine and whatever, but it was just like a whole day I missed and somewhere I really wanted to go. But so yeah, I got there and I walked along the river and like had like a great time, and I came back in time to go do they had like hostel games. We went to Simple Kurtz, which is one of the ruin bars.
That was my favorite place.
It was so fun. So did that, and then the next day I woke up and I walked over to the Fisherman's Bastion, which I loved. Matthias Church was absolutely beautiful. I love stuff like that, honestly. I was trying to find, they have like a Dracula's lair, but I was like,
cool.
I'd walked so much that day, I ended up just being like, fuck it. And that's when I went and got myself some drinks. They have a huge Holocaust history there. So I went to the Museum of Terror, which is a Holocaust museum. Actually met a bow there, and so yeah, I had a little travel bow. So I was like, yo, and then so we had a fun night. We smoked a spliff by the big white Ferris wheel.
And that is modern love, ladies and gentlemen.
It is in Budapest. And then the next day, I took myself to New York Cafe, which was the most beautiful cafe in the world. And yeah, I just had like honestly a great time. I couldn't get enough of it. So I would say absolutely give that another go around, because
I think I need to go with you.
Yeah, I just didn't think
you do.
You just went with the right people. So that's one thing, you know, like that's also why I love to solo travel. You have to love the company you're with.
I was gonna say, honestly, who you go with to each country makes the biggest difference. Like some of the places I went with really cool people that are just down to earth, down to do whatever. Some of my favorite places, like Croatia. I know you mentioned that earlier.
I haven't been there, but I would love to go. So have you found any, so we are going to segue a little bit into some love. Have you found any love abroad at all?
You know, I didn't. No. It was kind of just like a good friend, 5 months, you know.
Okay.
A few mails here and there, but
okay.
no serious travel bows. But
no, okay.
Honestly, that was fine. It was kind of like a find yourself, as lame as that sounds, semester.
No.
I was like having a hard time at school, and it was just a really like good separation.
That's good.
If that makes sense. Yeah, so I was just there to meet new people, do whatever. So I kind of was the yes man. Like I was like, anyone wanted to go out, anyone wanted to try a new restaurant. I didn't care how much it cost. Like I was going.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll figure it out later.
That's what you do when you're young. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it was kind of my mantra abroad.
Well, so what about here now today? Are you single?
I am single.
Okay. And so what are you doing about that?
You and I were kind of talking about this earlier, dating in the queue. You know, everyone says they're off the apps, but who's actually off the apps? You know, we're always...
I am right now, but listen, it's about to go down.
So she says, you know...
We just talked about Bumble BFF, but it's about to be Bumble something else, so...
You're always browsing. You always have a tab open. You know, you kid yourself that you're going to put your app on pause.
I do. Like, honestly, sometimes I'll just be like, no. And that's how I've been for the past like month and a half. I've really been focusing, but now it's time for someone to focus on me. Yeah. So
I made a rule for myself. Like if I was ever upset or like feeling down about myself, you can't download the app.
Why?
Because I'm like, this isn't going to fulfill me.
I'm like, I think
you're like, she's like, actually, I do quite the opposite.
No, yeah.
Because I was like, I'm just being
to each his own.
I would just be mindlessly swiping, and then people would,
yes, and
I'm getting all these matches. People want to talk to you, and I'm like, I don't even want to talk to these people.
I'm super selective. I'll say that.
Yes.
I'll be like, no.
I have a list in my head that if they don't even make like the first like 5 checkpoints or whatever, I won't even swipe. I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time.
What are the 5 checkpoints?
Might have to tell you those offline.
Oh, really? Well, our audience would like to hear.
I don't want to offend anyone.
Oh, hey, this is what we're here for. Let's offend them.
I mean, certain things like occupation. I'm like, you know, I grew up in San Diego. It's important to, you know, be financially secure.
Yes. Okay.
So I don't want to be the breadwinner necessarily. You know, I want us to be kind of even.
Thank you.
You know?
Yeah, even if not more. There's nothing offensive about that. I'm sorry.
I'm fine with more too.
I'm sorry, it's 2020, but still, like, this is the age of chivalry is not dead. Let's be a man here. Yeah.
But I'm like, if I don't have to stress about finances, then
you don't have to stress about me.
I guess more I want someone to have like the same goals and
values.
Yes. And so a lot of that you can tell by people's dating apps. Like some of these, especially on Hinge with the prompts, like some of the things people saying, I'm like, did you go to college? I'm like, my whole family's educated. It's always been instilled in me, like going to school and being educated in your, even if you don't go to college, whatever you decide to do is important. So I'm like, I see people that, dropped out of high school. No.
Hopefully they would not disclose that. That is not a Hinge answer you want to.
I've seen some people like, you can put your, like where you went to school on there.
Yeah. I
saw someone that literally had their middle school and that was the only thing.
Don't say.
I'm like, just keep it blank.
Yeah, don't say that.
Yeah. Like, let's not announce it here. I'm trying to think what else. Obviously, I'm kind of on the taller side. I'm like 5'7".
I'm 5'6". Okay.
Sorry, boys. I do look at the height. I just need
we all look at the height.
I even put my height on there because I want someone to know that I'm not, 5'3".
I'm 5'6", and I want there to be like plus heels. Think about it. I want it to be like a
you don't need to be 6'7" in the NBA, but I need a little bit of height above me so I don't feel like I'm, looking down on you.
It's not gonna happen. Like, I'm sorry, but this is not gonna be a motorboat boo. Like, you can't be right here for me. You gotta be
exactly.
I mean
I'm trying to think what else. Obviously there's certain things about people's looks, as superficial as that is, but
so we talked about in the last episode being hatfished, so let's make sure that we have some pictures that are not with caps on.
Yes. I went to a dating podcast that I listened to, has like a live show, and they called someone up and he was wearing a hat, and I guess in all of his profile pictures he had a hat on as well, and they're like, bro, show us your hair, like, and all the girls are chanting like, take it off. But it's so true, because it's like, and nothing against, like, I'm not against someone that doesn't have hair,
if
but
you're bald,
I just want to know. I don't want to show up to the first date and I'm still unsure what's under the hat.
Exactly. No, it's honestly, it's just like catfish and hatfish. Like, dudes talk shit about being.
I love that word. I'm gonna start using that.
Dudes talk shit about. Yeah, of course. Dudes talk shit about being catfish all the time. Bro, look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Take off your hat before you come up to bat. Like, don't do it.
Yeah. So. I just want it to be real. I want their, some kind of wit behind their prompts. Like, please don't. I love funny
guys. Honestly.
Yeah. Please don't tell me that you watch The Office or that you're. You're overly competitive about being competitive about everything. Because
I love you for saying that. Do you know how many guys, when it says, what are you overly competitive about? And it said, and every guy's like everything with the tongue out face. They're like,
yeah,
it's like, ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
No, that is probably the biggest red flag on there.
Do you know how many guys say that? I'm so fucking happy you said that.
Something unique on there. Like, give me something that makes me at least want to like say hi. Like, we haven't even gotten to the point where like we're chatting. You need to get past the swipe. Like, I wish I could just message these people and say, just let me make over your profile to help you get someone else. It's not gonna be me, but I'll help you.
We're not a match, but like, let me help you because this is it's not working for you.
It's like fixing someone's resume. Like, some people just need a lot more help than others.
Seriously.
I mean, I think mine's okay. My friends, obviously you've had your friends looking over.
My friends are always like, oh, let me see your profile. I'm like, okay. And like, no, your friends will tell you if like, I've never had anyone be like, okay, no.
Definitely.
But boys, they need somebody to proofread.
They need photographers too.
Proofread, photographers,
the worst thing is when your friend's like hooking up with someone and they show you their phone and they go, I swear they're better looking in person. And you want to believe them, but you never know.
Well, okay. And so then that's going to transition to our next thing. So you told me that you've been on a few FaceTime dates in quarantine.
Yes. So we were talking about this. This was in the beginning of quarantine when I thought it would probably only last like a month. I think we all did.
In the beginning of the queue, she was trying to find her boo.
Yeah. My boss was like, oh, we're going to work from home for about a month. And we're like, okay, like I'm going to see everyone in April. Like I'm still going to go to Coachella. Like, spring's going to be good. And here we are halfway through August and we're still not sure if we're ever doing anything again. But yeah. I went on a couple FaceTime dates. Hinge, was kind of promoting that. And I was like, all right, why not? How
I hate FaceTime.
What's the worst that could happen? The worst happened. Just kidding. But the first one, so I went on 2. The first one was fine. Guy, super nice, actually sent me, he was like, tell me what you want for dinner, like from Postmates, and I'll send it to you. And then we can kind of, it's like we're eating dinner together, but we're not. And I was like,
that's really sweet.
This is lovely. And I was like, chivalry is not dead. This is great. So, I panic order at restaurants a lot. Like, this is why I plan things. So I always look at the menu before.
You panic order? Why?
So sometimes I panic order if I don't look at the menu. So
Look at the menu, babe. Say
okay, so I pull up Postmates,
Okay.
and I don't Postmates a lot, really. So
I don't
I didn't
either.
even really know what was on there, and I'm like, I haven't had Chipotle in a while. Like,
oh no, mistake.
yeah, it was a mistake.
Oh my
Because
god.
I'm like, there's a reason I haven't had Chipotle in a while. Like, it was across the street from my dorm
It's a
in
no.
college, and I never went for a reason. Sounded good, decided to get it. So, I'm kind of hungry all the time. Like, I work out a lot, whatever. Can't remember. Date was at like 6 or 6:30, and so my Postmates comes early. I'm kind of like eating the chips, like chilling, pop open a June Shine,
Yeah.
feeling myself in like my nice top and pajamas on the bottom because FaceTime, and get on the phone with the guy and like kind of stop eating because you're like I don't it's you don't want to be chomping the chips in the FaceTime window, and I already had my June Shine open, so I'm kind of drinking and we're chatting and it was fine. I knew we weren't really hitting it off, but
Oh no.
I feel like I can talk to a wall, just it was fine. We're going back and forth.
Excuse me, this Chipotle's running right through me. I gotta go.
No, actually the story does not go that way. Thank God.
That's how it would go for me. I can't eat
I'm looking at my Chipotle's just getting cold next to me, and long story short, at the end of the day, he's like, "Oh, we like never ate our food," so it was so awkward because we didn't eat, and then he didn't drink.
Well, so
I had crushed 2 June Shines during this date.
You're like,
and I mean, I'm not like shotgunning it at the camera, but I'm casually.
That would have been fun.
All right.
Next
date.
Yeah.
But you can tell I'm sipping. It's not a very big window. He didn't even open his beer by the end, and that's when I knew we weren't a match.
I dated one guy who didn't drink, and it's a no from me.
But he like made a point to say like, oh, like we'll eat and drink as if we're together, but we're not. And so that was one red flag. And the rest of the day was just kind of weird. He was asking me like very generic questions, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm pretty open book. Like you can ask me normal adult questions, not like literally what was my favorite book. I'm like racking my brain. What is the last book I read?
It felt painful.
Yeah. And then you don't know how to get off. Like, I don't know if you remember, like in the beginning of quarantine, everyone was doing Zoom happy hours. Like you don't really know when to end it because you don't have anywhere to go. There's no excuse. It's not like, oh, I got to go do this because you don't.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of just like, oh, I have another FaceTime happy hour, whatever, with my friends. And it got off, and then obviously had to, bring the group chat together. And we did have to have a happy hour to discuss this. But so that was more just awkward.
Yeah, that is weird that he didn't. Did you not say like, open your drink, bitch?
I think I didn't notice that he wasn't drinking it because I don't know. It was just weird because I'm like, why aren't you opening your beverage?
Okay, so that's weird. His throat was probably really dry.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I didn't even see a water bottle nearby. Like,
wow. Alien.
Concerning. Yeah.
He's out.
So that was the like not as bad of the two. So then the second one, I was like, we're gonna give this another go. It's like a week later, maybe. And thought it went super well in the beginning. Actually drank on the, on the FaceTime, whatever. And then he's like, oh, we should set up another one. And what are you going to be like? No. And I'm like, okay.
Probably not.
Yeah. I think I kind of have a motto. Like, I think everyone deserves a second date unless it's like awful.
I don't have that motto, but that's nice.
I like to give someone another chance. Sometimes, I mean, I'm big on first impressions, but people have off days. Sometimes.
Come with your A game, baby. Like, I don't got enough time.
You're hard to date. You're a hard ass. She's like,
but I'm worth it.
Yeah, exactly. High standards. You gotta have high standards.
That's right.
But yeah, I've had a few, I'll give people a second date. And so I'm like, okay, let's do a second. And then we're texting and I'm thinking about this. And I'm like, I am stuck in my parents' home, FaceTiming people on Hinge. Like, I kind of had a reality check. Like, I think quarantine's going to go on a lot longer than we think. And I'm like, do I really want to leave this? This is when I was like kind of paranoid about Corona. I'm like, I'm not going to actually ever go on a date with this guy. And I didn't really enjoy the first one. So why am I going to do a second one? So keeps asking. I was like, oh, I'm busy. Like, you think people start to get the hint when they're texting you multiple times and you're either not responding or, making up excuses. Did not stop. I think by the end of it, it texted me like 6 times in a row and I just wasn't responding, like trying to set up dates. And then by the end, it had been like a month or two, text me again, like, now that things are opening up. And I'm like, nothing's opening up. Like, we're allowed to walk on the beach.
Nothing's
now.
opening up, especially not me.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
sir, please cease and desist.
And I'm like, the biggest red flag, which apologies to anyone out there that doesn't have an iPhone, but my friends were like, he doesn't have an iPhone. We had to do the FaceTime on Instagram.
The green bubble means lots of trouble. It's not
that's
going
a good
down.
one.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So after kept blowing up my phone, I'm like, no, I finally unfollowed him on Instagram. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Sorry. And
You said though.
I didn't.
You didn't.
I ghosted. I never ghost people. I always feel so bad. Like my friends kind of joke, like I always have my phone on me. Like I respond to almost every text. Like I feel like people at least deserve an answer.
Yes. Yes.
He did not deserve an answer. I'm like, you cannot text me 6 times in a row without response. And
so one of the once you have the chance to catch up on our shows, we always talk about it's so not polite to ghost. I know you've probably been ghosted. I've been ghosted.
Unfortunately,
it's not
terrible.
It's not nice. And so, I mean, it's not like a frequent thing because like, hopefully I like to think that the people that you attract in your life are people that are similar to you, but some people just don't have the same heart as you, which you have to just accept throughout all parts of your life. But I would like to think that what I put out, I'm going to get back, which is somebody who would have enough respect to say, hey, like this isn't working. But some people just don't fucking get it. So I do.
Yeah.
So I'll end off on saying that basically this one guy, he actually made me delete Hinge inadvertently because I went on a date with him and then he was like, oh, I really want to take you to my friend's like house party. Well, he took me there and it was like second date, but this sounds weird, but within the same day. So like we went and got brunch.
There was a break.
Well, so we went and got brunch and then I went to my friend's house because she had friends over and then he's like, hey, like my friends are having this beach party. Like, do you want to come? And I was like, sure, why not? But he like came to get me and was already like, behind me, like trying to, and I'm like, yo, like hell no.
Back it up.
So I was like, no, but then so we get to the beach party and it's a couples party.
Oh.
And I'm like, this fool freaking, he bamboozled me into a boo party. And I'm like, no. And then so basically the next day I said, hey, like, think you're really great, but, or I said, like, I think you're a great person, but I'm just like not there. I even said, like, I was like, oh, I'm not over this last thing. And I said that, like, thank you, take care. He texted me again and he was like, can you talk on the phone? And I said, no. Text me again. He's like, really, I don't think that we should end this. And I blocked him and my computer betrayed me and because I have a Mac.
Yeah.
And on my Mac, I opened up my Mac and another text popped up. He's like, please just talk to me. And I'm like, felt really bad, but I also at the same time was like, no means no. I did say, so I don't feel bad about that. I ended up having to block him because I just said, like, it's not going to work out.
2 dates are technically
a day.
One and a half.
Yeah. It was 1 day.
Those I don't think you owe them as much like closure. It's not like, 2 years and you're blocking them and not wanting to talk on the phone,
Yeah. But I think no matter what though, like I stand by that. Even if it is 1 day, just say, hey, like I had a great time with you, but I don't think this is
I've definitely had to do that too. And it's not fun, but I would appreciate it if someone was just like,
appreciate it.
I think you're great, but I just didn't, there was no connection there.
Because what if you went on a date with somebody that you super liked and like you thought it went good and then you didn't hear from them, you'd be devastated. So it'd be nice to hear, like, it doesn't have to be rude or mean. It's just like, hey, like you're a great person, but I don't think you're the one for me. Yeah. Take care. That is super nice.
It sucks right away, but it's better for you in the long run. Like, you're not going to waste your time thinking about this person all the time, like, hoping they text you back.
But then you're like, damn, okay, well, like that's a nice,
just keep swiping.
Because then it'd be like if you saw them in person, like it only hurts you to create enemies in your life, right? So if you saw them in person and you were an asshole and didn't say anything, then it's like you're like, no, I want to hide
at the bars.
I want to live my life in a way that I'm proud wherever I go, and it's like, oh hey, what's up? Like, and it's like a cordial thing because I was true to myself and said, this isn't serving me. So, I'm going to release that. And good luck on your journey.
Yeah. And if they can't reciprocate and be mature back, then that's on them.
Go be overly competitive about someone else.
God, I will never get over that. And it's like every other person too.
Oh, and seriously.
I'm competitive. Like, I grew up playing club volleyball. Like, I'm competitive, but you don't see me slapping it on my dating profile, letting you know that
that question was geared towards males for sure.
All these dating apps are geared towards males. I don't care even what Bumble says. Bumble makes it easier for guys because girls have to do all the work. It's actually their dream.
I've never gotten on Bumble either because I believe in chivalry way too much. It's like, no, you will approach me, sir. So yeah, that's
more of a fan of Hinge because it can go either way. So if you want to,
I do like Hinge. I have been off it for a minute now. But I think that they all have their merits. But yeah, Bumble. I'm not going to stumble over to you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But so anyway, we are going to end it off on please be competitive somewhere else. Join an outdoor soccer league because we are out of yours, if that is what you put on your profile. So Molly, thank you so much for joining us. I had so much fun talking to you about our travels. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us once again. And as always, stay tuned to stay up to date.